So it's Wednesday, and that can only mean one thing. Retro Wednesday. Dodgy Retro. We're back with Broken Sword. We're still in Ireland. Last time we talked to everyone in the pub. Now it's time to get on with some action. We got some puzzles coming up. Let's get straight into it. So we can still talk to the bartender again. Let's see what news he's got for us.
Excuse me. Yes, sir? Do you recognize this man? You already asked me that.
Indeed we did. Oops, we need to ask him about the
May I
pint.
have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honored fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar, utilizing the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven.
Mind your manners. Alright. Let's see. Ooh, we've got that little jingle. Something's happened here with the beer. Right. What do we need to do here? Something's missing.
Going.
We've already spoken to everyone.
Hello again.
What?
If I was a woman, I wouldn't think much of a wire net.
I think we might have asked about this already.
Made for a woman. I've got my sights on tastier dishes than women.
Whoa, whatever do you
Flesh as
mean?
smooth and tender as a maiden's. Bones as soft and white as a newborn babe's.
Okay, this is
Rabbit
getting weird.
fat. That's what gets my juices flowing.
Whatever you say, sir. Whatever you say.
I'll see you later.
Ooh. There
As
we
soon
go.
as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire.
Theft, then, George. Theft.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Excuse me?
No customers behind the bar. Ever.
Oops.
Get out.
Right, so let's have another look around outside this pub. We looked at these last time. What have we got here? Oh, this has been
I
broken.
pushed the switch down, but in doing so, it snapped off in my hand.
Alright, that was not there before.
It was impossible to return the switch to its original position.
You've been fiddling, George. You've been fiddling. Right. Let's go and see what happens back in the bar.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
Hey, how about another drink?
Same again?
Do you serve cocktails?
I'll serve anyone with manners. And money.
No, I'm serious. Have you considered turning McDevitt's into a cocktail bar? Cocktails are chic, cool, and popular with younger drinkers.
What? Kids in the bar? Can you imagine it? Pinball, pimples, and puke.
Right, I get the picture. I'll settle for a glass of stout.
I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
I could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my idea, is it?
Good timing. Alright, let's have a look. We're shown in the wire.
It just so happens I'm an electrician.
Of course,
Check out my
the card.
credentials.
It's an electrician's card.
Well, no. Isn't that marvellous? Here's a house bedeviled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer.
Okay, so he's going to let us
When
behind
you
the
finish
bar.
that, will you take a look at the pumps?
Let's have a look what we can do here then. We're blagging our way through this, I think. I'm not confident that George actually knows what he's doing.
I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug.
Okay, so we've done that. Oh, whoops, where are you going, George?
I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring.
Okay, hence the wire that we've got, so... No, that didn't work. Let's try it on the plug.
I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire.
That's highly dangerous, George.
But I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions.
You'll be running with
Excuse me,
scissors
Mr. Leary.
next.
I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half-pint to that man, on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on me hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
Okay, down to the cellar we go. Alright, bit dark down here. Ooh, rats.
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen.
Well, we didn't hear the grating of metal, but we do know there's a metal grate outside. So, let's see if we can do anything with that. There we go, now it's opened.
I lifted the trap door and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Nope. Who's this?
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Light opera.
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
Oh, very suspicious. Let's go back down and have a look what we've
Now I
got
can
in the
see.
cellar.
I spotted Mr. Leary's flashlight easily.
There you go, good to know.
Then I noticed a flash of light. Something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire. I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way, you're not old enough.
Cheeky
We can
chappy.
sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari.
Okay, so little chancer of a boy there. What have we got here? We're supposed to fix the pumps, right?
The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water.
Right. Remember this towel being a bit dirty, so let's see if we can do anything with that.
I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water. I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping.
Right. Okay, so what have we got in our inventory now? We've got a flashlight. We've got our gem.
It was a large blue gemstone. It was a rectangle of toweling printed with the words, Nagopaline Stout builds body. The towel was soaked through with water.
Yep, we'll put a wet towel in our pocket. Of course we will, George.
It was the barman's flashlight.
And we got our flashlight. All right. Don't see that there's anything else for us to do right now. So... let's see what Maguire's got to say.
Hey, Maguire,
What?
did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a
Okay,
special
we asked this
agent?
one before,
Sorry
I
to
think.
disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. Want a closer look at the gem, Maguire?
You'd better hide that, mister. What if the pixie comes back? You'll be in trouble then.
I don't believe in pixies. Underneath that costume is a psychotic killer.
Smart.
All right
See
then,
you later,
let's
kid.
Okay, mister.
see what we can do from here. Oh, there we go, we've got a path. Let's see where it takes us. It's a man on the hay bale.
Hi, do you speak English?
Well, now, what if I was to say no? An implication of cognizance shrouded in denial. A pretty poser of a paradox indeed.
I gave him the
Indeed.
look I'd perfected when I was 12 and was going to be the greatest hypnotist of all time. It was a killer.
Are you attempting to hypnotize me, or is it the constipation you're suffering?
I was a little out of practice.
Right.
What can you
let's see
tell me about the castle?
what he can
Not
tell
much,
us.
I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Have you seen Professor Pegram?
No, he's packed up and gone.
Do you happen to know where?
Back in England, I suppose.
All right, let's
Did you
bring up the
happen to see a
Ferrari.
red sports car down on the road?
I caught a glimpse of a flash of red on the hill and heard the racket. Sure, it was an awful noise. A sports car, you say?
A Ferrari, to be exact.
A racing car? And what was it doing here? The poor fella must have been lost.
Must have been lost, eh? Yes.
The driver of the Ferrari was involved in an accident.
Is that so?
Yeah, he knocked somebody down outside the bar.
What an idiot! How could a thing like that happen?
He was traveling too fast.
So fast, he ran right under the car?
I mean, the car was traveling too fast.
But you'd have thought the idiot could have heard it coming.
Nobody seems to be bothered
Maybe
about,
you know the guy who was hit by the Ferrari.
about our guy
His name
Fitzgerald.
is Sean Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know him all right. That's me nephew, the idiot responsible for the stacking of my hay cart. Was he killed by the car?
Oh no, but he has been abducted.
Well, that's a relief now.
Lovely, that's a relief.
Aren't you going to look for your nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too late.
Well, you could report the matter to the police.
Better not. Besides, what could they do?
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the one bicycle between them. In a question of superior acceleration, I put me money on the Ferrari.
Makes sense to me.
I think you ought to know exactly what Sean has gotten himself into.
I'm not sure I want to know.
But you're his uncle, his own flesh and blood.
You're right, but what can I do? If I'm not here to guard it, some idiot might try to climb the haystack. What a moral dilemma. Stay here and guard this potentially lethal agricultural construction, or to go off in search of the prodigal nephew, the very man responsible for said hazard?
That's
It'll
very
need some
deep.
thinking about.
Why, there's no problem.
You're right. Why didn't I think of it before? We'll demolish the haystack.
You don't have to
Dear
demolish the
me.
haystack to go look for Sean. I'll stay here in your place.
In this case,
and
George
warn
is the sensible
anyone
one.
who's silly enough to climb it.
Marvellous. I think I should start me inquiries in the bar.
All right, we've got rid of him then.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay. The stack of hay stopped, short of the top of the wall. Even if I stretched as far as I could, the wall was out of reach. What I needed was a slice or two of Alice's Wonderland.
That is a dangerous haystack.
I pushed my fingers into the narrow crack. It went back several inches into the rock.
Oh, careful, George. Right then. Well, we've been showing everyone the sewer key. Maybe that can break open a hole.
I inserted the end of the lifting
Just
key
pulls
in
a huge
mortarless
sewer
crack
key
and
right
gave
out
it
of
a
his
firm
jacket
shove.
pocket.
It remained lodged
Fantastic.
in the wall, jutting out to form a step.
Okay, it's classic point-and-click logic, is this?
I tugged at the lifting key and found it was held quite securely.
That'll do then. Oh, it's the goat. The goat. Yes, one of the most famous puzzles of all time, the notorious goat. But I believe in this director's cut, it's been simplified. Right, so let's see what we can do. Can we go up? Oh, no. The stairs just take us back onto the haystack. Whoops. Can we go down? Oh, there you go. The goat does his stuff. Alright, so here we go. Over to the ploughshare. And the goat. Oh, it comes for us again, but now he's stuck.
The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare.
Alright then. And that's it. Now, in the original game, I believe it was that, people just couldn't figure out how to get past this goat, and it's been called one of the most difficult puzzles of all time. I was listening to a podcast recently, the point-and-click podcast. I think I'll put a link down in the description. His theory was that it wasn't an impossible puzzle, it was just completely different to anything else in the game. It was a timing puzzle. It was almost like a quick time event. And you had to click on something, you had to get the timing right and move across the screen and cause the goat to tangle itself up. Now they've simplified it greatly. Anyway, let's have a look at what we've got here. Quite a few things to look at. Okay. We've got a man kneeling down.
The statue was too heavy to lift. It overbalanced into the sand.
Come on, George. You're trashing archaeological sites already.
As I swung the stone upright, I noticed it had left a pattern of holes in the sand.
Well, let's have a look.
I placed my fingers in the 5 impressions left by the fallen stone. It was weird. They fit perfectly.
Interesting.
I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened.
Okay, so we've got the 5 holes there as well.
I tried in vain to move the panel.
Right. And what do we have conveniently placed over here?
As I dipped my fingers into the soft white powder, I realized what it was. Plaster of Paris. I'd used it in kindergarten to make casts of animal paw prints.
To make casts. I wonder what we could use that for.
I reached into the sack, but it was empty.
Okay, we've already taken enough. Right, so we've got our plaster of Paris. So we want to make a mold. Okay, I guess we're going to have to go and look at here again. Zoom in. Alright.
I sprinkled the plaster on the sand until the holes were filled. I smoothed the plaster level with the sand. It was my first experience of home improvement.
Okay. So we need to make it wet, don't we? So luckily, we wet our towel before. We've just been carrying the wet towel around in our pocket, together with the 3-foot-long
water was quickly absorbed
sewer key.
by the plaster. I eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue.
So, can we use it in there?
The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
Ooh, we've opened up a secret room. Let's go inside, Georgie boy. Montfaucon, okay. And a man hanging. And then we cut back to Paris for another Nico episode. And that's going to be another episode on the channel. So obviously, George has done what he needed to do in Ireland for now. With Nico, we will continue in the next episode. So I do hope you've enjoyed that one. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, check out the playlist for all the Broken Sword episodes. I'm Dodgee Gamer, and I'll speak to you again soon.